Hey, thanks so much for hopping on Connected today. I really appreciate it. Today I'm talking with Elliot Silk, who's a service director at Suntrup Automotive Group in St. Louis, Missouri. Just a heads up, he's been working with my director, Nick Rocky, on our Connected podcast for the last couple of weeks, setting up a time that would work. And Elliot was buried today and a couple people call off. So you'll hear him refer to me as Nick a couple times, but don't worry about that. Anyhow, it's a great conversation. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Hi, I'm Greg Ulan with Reynolds & Reynolds, and this is Connected. Today I'm excited. I get to talk with Elliot Silk, who's the service director at Suntrup Automotive Group in St. Louis. He's responsible for 6 stores in that group. And Elliot's actually developed an anti-theft device. And I'm interested in talking about this because he saw a problem in the market, didn't have a solution, and went out and created the solution. So, Elliot, thanks so much for hopping on and talking today.
Hey, Nick, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yep, absolutely. So Elliot, let's start real quick. Give just a little bit maybe of your background, kind of, how you got into automotive. I'm always curious, it seems like all of us have a little bit different path, but once we're in, there's no getting out. So what's your kind of path getting into automotive?
Yeah, I've been doing this, Nick. This is my 47th year in automotive. I started out just cleaning the shop when I was a kid. And one day I was promoted to a tire buster. Then I was promoted to oil change lube tech. One day the manager didn't show up, so I substituted filling in the service department. And here I am 47 years later, still in the service departments.
Love it. Well, and you were telling me before we started recording here, you're subbing in today too. You had a couple people call off, so you're going to be busy.
Yeah, my Volkswagen manager called in sick, and my Hyundai manager called in sick today.
Yep, it happens. Well, I do appreciate you taking time, even though you got some people out. So let's talk a little bit. Let's dive right in. Elliot, I want to talk about this device that you've created. Let's start first with the problem you saw in the market. So Kia vehicles, Hyundai vehicles specifically. It seemed like certainly in St. Louis, but probably throughout the country as well, an increase in thefts. There was some social media craze and some YouTube videos on how to break into these cars, and it was causing this big increase. So I don't know. I want you to tell the story from your perspective. What problem did you see that you were like, we got to figure out how to fill this void?
So yeah, it's real simple. We were getting 30, 40 cars a week at my Kia dealership and at my Hyundai dealership being towed in with the steering columns busted out and the windows busted out. And all these customers, I felt so bad for them because they're saying, hey, what are you going to do? Well, at that point, there was nothing we can do. We're talking back early last year, this all happened. So, it was out of control. I'm seeing still at this point, I have 57 Hyundais on my lot and probably 45 or 50 Kias on my other lot that have been broken into and stolen. And what's worse, Nick, not only are they stolen, but then they steal them off my lot waiting to be repaired. People are stealing them again before I even get to them.
Jeez.
They're just simple to steal because when you pull that steering column out, there's actually a little Bluetooth, a USB port. And all you have to do is put your cord on there and start it like an ignition switch.
No kidding.
It's that simple.
That is wild. So you're seeing this and you see, there's 2 things. One, you got to have some sort of solution for customers and for the dealership too, right? I mean, you got cars that you're responsible for sitting there on your lot and you're saying people are coming in and stealing those too. So, you have this obvious void. So tell me about and tell everybody about the solution, right? How'd you get there with what you created, and then how have you kind of rolled it out?
Well, it's interesting. So I'm lucky that I have some technicians that have been with me close to 40 years. They followed me from when I own 5 tire centers. They were Goodyear tire centers, and I have some guys that were with me back 40 years ago, and they followed me from there to the dealership world when I sold out. And so I know these guys really well. And we're sitting around talking about this. And, customers were just livid. And they were, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? And, we had no solution at that point. So we were all sitting around one day, a couple of my master techs. And I said, you guys remember back in the 70s? Of course, Nick, you probably weren't born, but I was already in this field. In the 70s, we used to install these kill switches. I said, can't we come up with something like that? So we started searching the internet, and we put our brains together, and we actually developed a modern Bluetooth kill switch. In the easiest terms, it's a kill switch.
Yeah. No, that's great. So Has this been adopted pretty well by your customers? I mean, have people really been drawn to it as a solution to the problem?
So when we first released this, a couple of news channels in St. Louis picked me up, and our phones were ringing off the hook. We couldn't keep up with the demand because, of course, everybody was scared about their car being stolen. And, when you park it in the parking lot, you're worried if it's going to be there when you come back. That's a scary thought. So we were just inundated with people. And, of course, we tested this thing for 6 months before we released it to the general public, and it worked great. But here's the deal, Nick, that I think you'll find interesting. It's a Bluetooth device, right? So if you just install it normal, it would be an on and off switch, right. And if the customer forgets to turn it on, what's going to happen? They're going to steal the car. So we devised it so that no matter what, it's always on. So if the customer gets out of the car and walks away, it's on. If they forget, it's on. So they literally have to override the on to get it to start. So you have to hit the on button, turn the key at the same time, and it'll start. Once you pull the key out, it's already engaged again. So we developed it, but we also wanted to make it foolproof so nobody could forget to do it. So that took a little bit of time, but we managed to get it. And like I said, the people love it. The customers, I've had zero complaints. I've had lots of kudos and a lot of people thanking me because, quite honestly, they were scared. And of course, a lot of Kias and Hyundais are owned by kids, and they were worried about their kids' car being stolen. So it worked out. It's worked out really well. And like I said, we've put on hundreds of them.
That's great. That's great. One of my favorite things about this industry, I use the term sometimes intrapreneurship. So, as the entrepreneur, you own the business, you have all the risk, there's a lot of pieces involved with that. You said you own tire centers, you work at a dealership. So you're very familiar with entrepreneurship, but I love this idea of intrapreneurship as well, where there's so many entrepreneurial spirited people in the industry like yourself that see a problem and go solve it, right? And you're clearly enabled by the group that you work at to go do these things, right? To go figure these things out and to be able to do it and to solve those problems at the street level, right? You and your tech sitting around a table, like I love that. That's one of my favorite things.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. That's exactly how it went down too. We saw a problem, and it was not just a little problem; it was a big problem. So we took it upon ourselves to come up with a solution. And really, it's amazing because it's old technology that works again in 2022, 2023, and this is technology from the 60s and 70s, and it still works.
Yep. So tell me a little too about the relationship with you and kind of dealership ownership and how this has worked out or kind of what that relationship looks like. I can just imagine there's folks out there who are saying, all right, I'm a service director. I want to develop this product. So the dealership, maybe I sell it to the consumer. Maybe I sell it to the dealership who sells it to the consumer. We're going to install it. So we'll get labor on it. Like, what does that relationship look like, or what did that interaction look like when you kind of came up with this idea, right? How do we stock it in, or is it just you sell it direct to consumer and then the dealership charges the install service fee? How did that evolve?
Well, I took it to the owner. The owner and I have a great relationship. I have been with them a long time. We have a great working relationship. I'm on the board of directors, so I happen to be, kind of one of the top guys in the company anyway. Right. And when I went to Mr. Suntrup, Butch Suntrup, and Craig Suntrup, I said, hey, look at what we got here. And they were really supportive. They said, let's see how it works. I took them out. We showed them, and I didn't show the owners until it was the 12th hour. I didn't show them at hour 1, 2, and 3. I waited till this thing was perfected. And they loved it. They supported me. They loved it. They loved the fact that not only is it good for our company, but it's good for customers. It's not like, Nick, it's not like we're making millions of dollars on it. Just so you know, we're selling it for $199 installed. It takes 30 to 45 minutes to do it. So it's not like it's a huge profit margin, but what it is, it's building great rapport with our customers. And to me, we've gotten so many new customers that came to us from other dealers or actually from the aftermarket world. They were never at a dealership before, but now that we fixed their problem, they show some loyalty. And I think that to me is just as important as any of it.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. That's great. That's great. And it's great that you do have that good relationship. But your point is, I think, a really good one of, figure it out, right? Have the solution before you go to talk to somebody about delivering it to customers, right? You gotta go through, you have to iterate, you have to try it, but you have to have that solution first. Absolutely. We knew there was a problem. And not only is it a problem, but it's compounded because
we're short on windows, we're short on glass, we're short on steering columns. So it's not just the problem of the cars being stolen. These cars are sitting here for weeks and weeks and weeks because because Hyundai and Kia cannot produce enough parts to fix these cars. So it's a compounded problem. So to come up with a solution, like you said, we worked on it first. We came up with the solution, and it was a great solution. It's so funny because it's such a simple solution that, and I probably shouldn't even mention this, but Hyundai actually called me. The corporate Hyundai called me and said, "Hey, could you send us one of your devices so we can see what you've done?"
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there thinking, wait a minute, I'm some little guy in St. Louis, Missouri, and Hyundai corporate with all these thousands of engineers couldn't come up with an easy solution, and I did. So I feel good about it. My guys feel good about it, and it's just interesting how when you've been in, like you said, Nick, I've been in for a long time. You kind of see everything, and you just work on your history.
No, that's great. That's great. I love it. So you mentioned a little earlier how you got some news coverage locally, and I'm curious how you accomplish that, because those types of things don't just happen, right? Either somebody reaches out to the news station to let them know something's happening. So I'm curious for you in this situation, was it you reaching out, highlighting the problem and your solution? Was it a customer that reached out? How did the news station get wind of it? I think there's a lot of opportunity there for a lot of dealers to leverage local media, to do it in a way like you did, where it's basically earned media, right? You didn't pay for it. You didn't, it's not like it's not advertising, right? But you get good coverage. And then you said, after that runs, your phone's ringing off the hook. So curious how you executed that and how you made it happen.
So, it's pretty interesting. So because Hyundai and Kia has been such a problem in St. Louis, we're one of the top 5 cities across the country that had this problem. The news media was calling me all the time, asking me what's going on, what are you doing about it, what are you doing about it? So the news media was always contacting me anyway. So it was a real simple turnaround. I called them back and said, hey, listen, you've been asking me all these questions about what we're doing about it. We've got a solution. And really, Nick, I called them on about 9 o'clock on a Monday, and they were in my store at 3 o'clock that afternoon because the story is such a big story. They wanted to get involved in it right away. So what's fun is they came out, we did the interview. It was a great interview, by the way. The news person was great. She handled it perfectly. It ran that evening. So this started Monday morning. By Monday night, it ran at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and 9 o'clock, and it ran the next morning. Well, I didn't know what was going to happen, but all of a sudden, every news station picked it up. And then, Automotive News, the newspaper magazine?
Yeah. Yeah,
they picked it up, and they ran me as a feature article in the January deal. So when they ran it, then other media picked it up, and then ABC nationally picked it up, and they called me for an interview. So really, all I did was tell them, hey, we got a solution to all this issue you've been having, and it just blew up from there. I mean, literally, it blew up. And when they found out I had a website, we had over 5,000 visits to our website the very first month that we launched this product.
That's great.
But again, I didn't pay for any of this. It was just word of mouth. And when automotive news hit, they're in every automotive facility in the country. Holy moly. Other magazines called me, and other dealers. Actually, I have some dealers that wanted to be the distributors. Hyundai dealers and Kia dealers across the country called me. They wanted to distribute it. So it just blew up on its own. I could not have written a script any better.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. So, well, first, before we get off of that, you mentioned the website, visdevices.com, right? VISdevices.com.
VISdevices.com.
Okay. All right. So we got that out there. We'll put it in the show notes too at the end, just so if anybody wants to go check it out, they can. But getting back to sort of that media coverage, because I think this is just an interesting area, and it's not easy to do. So you were able to leverage an existing issue, right? You said that in St. Louis, it's been something that's been getting a lot of coverage. So you essentially piggybacked off of that, right? You found the solution. So you reached out to him and you said, hey, look, you've been talking about this for months or however long it's been. I got a solution. Come check it out. And I think that's fantastic. So what are some of those things? I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to give people a takeaway, because the snowball effect, like you mentioned and you've experienced, just hearing you talk about it and the way you're smiling when you're talking about it, it's pretty amazing, right? I mean, once it starts rolling, it just gets bigger and bigger. So what are some ways to look at things maybe differently to identify some of those kind of public problems, or at least get a slant on an issue that's been talked about in the media and tie it to maybe a solution that you have? I don't know if you have any ideas on that or not. And if I'm just digging somewhere that there isn't anything to find, that's fine too. Just tell me. But
you know what, Nick, it's funny. So I kind of have a creative side of me. Back when COVID first hit and, they ran out of masks all of a sudden. So I went to all my paint companies and I got all these masks and I donated them to SLU University here in St. Louis. And I'll tell you that media came out that day when they heard that I did something proactive to help a problem. The same TV stations were out and they did articles on me or interviews with me then too, because all I did was use paint masks for COVID, and they thought that was a freaking great idea. So it went to SLU University, Washington University, and I donated, lots of masks. So, really, the media, I know they like to bring out all these problems and show how bad it is, but if you can come up with a relatively easy solution that helps the customers, they also want to do good stuff. So just the fact that there's a problem, I came up with a cure to help people. It was amazing how quick. I mean, if you call them at 9 o'clock and you're running that night at 5 o'clock, that's a quick turnaround. So the fact that they know how much negative press we got for Kias and Hyundais, to give some positive press, it was a real easy deal.
No, that's great. That's great. And, it really goes back to that entrepreneurial mindset, right? That problem solving mindset of, like, you see a problem, you figure out how to solve it, and then you go execute. And if you can get coverage on it, if you can make a business out of it, if you can help other people with it, whatever the outcome is, that's the rewarding part. But being able to solve problems really is, it sounds like, at the core of it.
I tell you, you talk about rewarding. A customer grabs me probably 4 weeks ago. He was a Hyundai customer. He says, "Are you the gentleman that invented this device?" I said, "I am." He goes, I just want to take a minute to thank you personally." I said, "Well, I appreciate that, but you don't have to thank me." He goes, No, you don't understand. My 18-year-old, I was so worried and I was so scared that they were going to come out to to this theft. And he goes, I can't tell you how much you've made my day. The fact that now I feel much safer for my son. And it was just, that's what makes you feel good. I mean, yeah, you can make some money on it. Like I said earlier, the device is only $99
right.
and install is only $199. So it's not like I'm sitting here going, I'm driving a new Rolls Royce because I invented this product. But the fact that people thank me, and I can't tell you how many phone calls and on my website, how many people have thanked me across the country because they were trying to trade their car off. Nobody would trade it off because it was a theft problem. Insurance companies weren't covering them. But now the insurance company will cover it because my theft device is on it. People will trade them in because my theft device is on it. So to me, we did something good, and it makes you feel really good when you go to bed at night that you've done something. I'm in this industry that I've been in for 47 years, and to put my name on there, to be written up in automotive news, to have my picture with a feature story, that's kind of like the epitome of what I've done all these years. So it's really to me, it's a feel good story, not a profitable story. It's a feel good story for me.
No, I love it. Well, let's talk a little bit too, if you don't mind, about the nuts and bolts logistics of some of this stuff. So, for some people, it's a little overwhelming. You talked about shipping and having a website and being able to order online. I checked it out. I mean, it looks like, you basically kind of set up something through Shopify, which is pretty easy to use, and you basically got your inventory. But how does it work? So somebody comes up with some idea, right, and they need to sell it online. I think e-commerce is something that is terrifying to a lot of people. Let's call it a T-shirt. I don't know, right? They want to sell something online. What did that process look like for you? Kind of, where do you go? What did that step by step kind of, what did you follow? Did you have somebody do it for you? Did you just handle it? What did it look like?
It's interesting. I'm an old guy, so I'm an older man, so I'm not computer savvy. I'm not, I'm not good at all that stuff, but Shopify is an easy solution. Oh my God, they walk you through the process. You link it to PayPal, you link it to a credit card, you link it to a bank account. They do everything for you. You have to play around a little bit. And I had a partner help me with this. One of the young guys in our company who's a marketing guy. He helped me with all this. He understands all that, so he helped me set up the videos and put the videos in. We shot videos. We put them on all the website, TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. He shot these videos, and he just shot them with a cell phone. So it's not like we paid anybody to shoot these videos. He did it on a cell phone. We put them on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, and it just exploded. Then we put the videos on our website, and people click on them and see the news media. They see the ones we made. My niece, she's 18 years old. She came in and shot one of these videos with me because she loved doing it, and these kids know how to do all this stuff. But I got to tell you, to from start to finish was so simple. Shopify makes it easy. So I found the product. I found where it was manufactured. I had them actually, because we bought so many of them, they actually changed the way they produced the product to make it more useful for us, because it wasn't really an automotive device. It was like you remember the clapper, lights on, lights off?
Yeah.
It was kind of that kind of deal. And they just rerouted it after we redesigned it, and they made it to fit. We bought it, we put it on our website, and it was that simple, really. And I'm not good at it. So if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. So how does shipping work too? Shipping and logistics. So did you buy a bunch and you have an inventory and then you ship them out FedEx, or do you drop ship from the manufacturer that's building it? What does that look like for you?
No, we have so many in stock because, of course, we were installing them. So the people that wanted them, that didn't live around us, we just FedEx them to them. It just put them in a box with so what my master tech did. So we went ahead and shot a video, and we have 2 QR codes. We have a quick install for a technician. So if they want to take it to their local technicians, they can pick it up in 5 minutes. They do a quick video, and then I have a long video, a QR code for a long video, step by step. So the average person who has any mechanical ability can do it himself. And I'll tell you, I've had everything, Nick. I've had people call me, they took it to the local tech, installed it in 30, 45 minutes. I've had people say, well, I did it myself and I could do it in an hour. So, 2 different QR codes for different types of installation. It was that simple.
Yeah, I go back to the days when we all wanted a different stereo in our car, right? And you'd end up with those wiring harnesses that had about 45 different colored wires on them, and some of them had stripes, some of them didn't. They were different color of blues, but tell you what, that was a challenge and a test of your electrical ability, right? But it sounds like this is much less complex if you need to install it.
Let me tell you how easy it is, okay? A wire goes into the starter, a wire goes into the battery, and you ground it. That's it. Then my device is hidden up top. It's used. You have to have the Bluetooth device with it.
Sure.
That's all it is. I mean, so anybody can do it. I mean, as long as you have a little mechanical ability, you can do it. It's that simple. I mean, that's how this idea wasn't in depth. It was just a simple solution, and the installation is just as simple as the idea.
Yeah, I love it. It's great. Well, Elliot, what's next? What's the next idea? What's the next problem you're solving?
Oh my God! Let me get through this right now. Oh my God, you're funny. So Hyundai and Kia have come up with a solution. I want to just let you know that they've come up with a more complex solution than I have. Sure. And what they're doing is they're reprogramming the computers. However, to have their computer reprogrammed, you have to meet certain requirements, and it has to be certain models. And at this point, it's not covering near all the problems. Okay, from 2011 to 2021, their solution is handling a few of them. So right this minute, and I'm being completely honest with you, my sales have dropped off a little bit because Hyundai and Kia announced that they have a repair. People are coming in, and unfortunately, they're being denied because it doesn't fit their VIN. And so many people are realizing it doesn't fit their VIN. That I just think that in the next 30, 40 days, my product's going to go right back up because it's not VIN solution. It fits any car. Actually, you could put it on a Ford, you could put it on a Chevrolet. It works the same way for any car. So I think they'll see that Kia and Hyundai, and their solution works. It works really well. It just doesn't fix enough of the cars yet.
Yeah. No, that's great. And I definitely hope that you do see that uptick back coming again. I don't know. I love it. I love the entrepreneurial story around it. I love the creativity around it. I love the problem solving, and just making it happen. I think that's where a lot of us, a lot of people in general, kind of falter, right? You get an idea and it's, oh, that'd be neat. And then you don't go execute, right? Or maybe you even figure out how to do it. You find that product but you don't buy the inventory, or you don't put it online, or you don't reach out to get that story. And I don't know, maybe you have a perspective on this, but to me, it's like, why not try, right? What's going to happen? What's going to happen if it doesn't work? And in so many cases, it's not that big of a deal.
Well, to me, it's fun. I mean, if you're in the industry and you see a problem and you can be the guy that came up with a solution, it was fun. I'll tell you just a quick story. 20-something years ago, my father was in a car accident. He would not wear his seatbelt, would never wear a seatbelt. And unfortunately, he didn't make it. And I was in my shop one day watching these little kids take the seatbelt, push it over their head. And I developed a toy called Buckle Up Buddy. So 20-something years ago, I came up with a little stuffed animal. I patented the toy. It made it to Target, made it to Walmart, made it to Kmart back then. And It actually was on the shelf. So I had a product that I thought in my head. I saw a solution so little kids wouldn't take the seatbelt over their head. They were wearing them. And to walk in a grocery store or to a Walmart or Target and see your own product that you developed, it's a cool feeling to know that you've made an impact. And if you come up with any idea, there's a way to get it to market. You just have to, you have to have some, you have to go after it. And that's what I did. So it's been fun. This is my second product, which is, to me, it's just, if you're in a business and you like what you do, there's always things you can do to make them better. And that's what I've done.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, Elliot, I do want to say, sorry for your loss. That's a positive story out of a tragic event, but sorry for your loss, and that's very cool that you were able to take that. Clearly, it builds a passion inside of you to fix a serious problem, and to do that for kids and parents. I think that's awesome. So
well, thank you. I appreciate it. That's just another idea. And if you really like what you do and you're really involved in what you do, all you have to do is look around. There's plenty of things that people are way more creative than me that can come up with solutions that really make a difference to the world, or to the automotive industry at least.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Well, Elliot, I really appreciate your time. I could talk to you, it seems like, for hours, if not days here. Love this conversation, but I want to be respectful of your time. I know you're filling in for a couple people today. We've seen folks coming in and out. I'm sure they're waiting there patiently, or not so patiently, for a little consult with you. But anything before we hop off, anything we haven't talked about or touched on that you would like to?
No, Nick, I think you did good. I appreciate you taking the time to interview me. If anybody is interested in the device, they can go to visdevices.com. It's still there. I'm still selling the products. I think right now I sold out last week, so I'm waiting for my next shipment to come in, which will be later this week. But again, I appreciate you taking the time to interview me. That was real nice.
Nope, it was a blast. We'll have to do it again sometime. Fun conversation. So thank you very much, Elliot Silk, Service Director at Suntrup Automotive Group. Best of luck, and I can't wait to see what's next.
Thanks, buddy. Have a great day.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye.
What a great conversation with Elliot Silk, Service Director at Suntrup Automotive Group in St. Louis, Missouri. I love his creativity, his problem solving, his entrepreneurship. I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. Before we hop off, don't forget you can watch or listen to episodes of Connected on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify podcasts. And make sure to subscribe so you're notified every other week when new episodes are released. Thanks so much, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.